Hey everybody, I'm Cinnamon Cooney, your art Sherpa, and today I'd like to show you how you can create this fantastic spacey galaxy tree yourself at home, even if you're a beginning artist. On the mic is my husband, John.
Hey guys.
He helps me do this by tracking me with one of our robotic cameras, making sure you see every part of the action. Plus, he tries to catch a couple of your questions during the live show. If you're here for the live show, I want to say welcome. I really appreciate you being patient. Thank you so much and coming and joining us for this live paint along. And if you're here for the repaint, it's good to see you too. I hope you're doing really well. I'm kind of ready to just jump on in. Are you ready, babe?
All right. Yeah.
Okay, let's jump in. Oh, good fade, good fade. So I'd like to start with the materials that you might want to have for today's lesson.
Okay.
Now here I have a 9x12 surface. This is an artboard. You could use a stretch canvas. You could use an acrylic pad for painting. Any of those things are just fine. I have some wishes on here. I have wishes of healing for Sandra's mom. And then we have a big global wish of healing and communication to clear and, bring back together estranged friends. And then a little personal wish for me on there. So I'm going to put that up in the universe. All right. So on our paint today, I'm using heavy bodied acrylic paint. I'm using Mars Black. I have titanium white. And I have, now this particular one is tint white, but you can use zinc white or mixing white. Any of those whites are okay. Phthalo blue, phthalo green, Quinacridone magenta, Dioxazine purple. I've got a palette knife for a little bit of mixing, some detail brushes to brush in a little bit. We've got to brush in like the grass and stuff. I have my Galaxy Splatter tool to help me with splattering, and I have my dotting tool. But here's the secret weapon, sponges, sea sponges, that sometimes we like to call Sherpa nuggets, because we're goofy like that. So those are our really specific tools for today's surface. Now listen, there's a lot of things that you can do to exchange. If you look down in the description, the materials are there. And if you go to the website, you'll find extra information like a traceable if you don't really want to know how to draw, and the video on how to use the traceable. So we're really about facilitating you exchanges, things that you can do. I do highly recommend for this project, if you can get sea sponges, that you do get sea sponges. They give a really particular texture. Of course, you could do this design another way, and I would not have my feelings hurt if you did. It's completely fine. You're an artist. You should do things the way that it feels good for you. Now, I'm going to go ahead and paint this whole background surface black.
Okay.
Ooh, that's too big a brush. I'm going to get a bigger brush, but not that big of a brush. So this is a 26 short-handled braid by, it's a ruby satin. I'm going to dip my brush in water and drag off the extra. And I'm going to just pull everything into my brush here and just paint the whole surface with black paint, solid black paint. Now you can buy, sometimes cheaper than you can get the white canvases, black canvases in packs.
Yeah.
They often put them on sale, and they'll be gessoed black. You can use black gesso. You could use black paper. There's a lot of options here. You could use a whole different background color. I'm, again, not going to be offended.
Yeah. I actually, before the show really sort of took off, when I would go to the hobby store, the art store, I would go and look for what canvases and surfaces that were kind of unusual that were on sale, and come home with them, because I just knew that, like, oh, there's a 3-pack of denim.
Yeah.
I don't know what she's going to do with the denim.
Paint on it.
Burlap will be painted on. Denim will be painted. And the reason why we don't use more weirder stuff on the show now is because it's hard to predict when it's going to be on sale.
Oh, or available even. Yeah. Some of it's seasonal. That's always heartbreaking to realize that a video actually has seasonal materials.
So be experimental. It's okay.
You could do this on black velvet, though, which is available year-round.
I would love this on black velvet with some luminous paint. Oh, my.
So what you see me do here is just give myself a nice, smooth, even surface of a black canvas, which has blended, completely camouflaged into...
Actually, you can see it, the difference. There's just different sheen to it.
Yeah.
You probably can't see it on your monitor.
No, I can't at all.
Yeah, but from here, you really can. You can see the difference in the sheens. And
Whoops.
Especially the horizontal. What are you doing over there?
I just was getting my paper towels. They're a little bit below my eye lines. Sometimes I got to pop down to get them. I have to do drawing. Now, if you could tell them about all the cool resources and videos, like that we have a splatter video and all that stuff that we have to help them do this easier while I draw the canvas, I would really appreciate it. I love you.
Love you. But she just told you. But we have all these videos, these resources. She's picking stuff up there. So if we have all these resources on our website, where you can find just all what she's saying is, look at the link in the description down below, and you're going to find a link to our website. Now on there, you'll go to the project page for today, and it'll have resources like the traceable, any of the reference images, all that kind of stuff will be located right there. And she does a fantastic job of putting additional resources and all of that right there on the project page for today. Now, if you click up in the videos, you'll get a search bar, and you can type in just about anything in there, and you'll find. Cinnamon's done 600-700 paintings, more than that now. I don't really know how many we have online, but there's a lot. And we've indexed them all through the website so you could find them much easier, which we found was much easier than trying to index them using, anybody else's, like YouTube's tools aren't great for a library of 600 videos or 700, 800 videos. I really don't know, but there's hundreds now. So, and now you can see I'm trying to fill the airtime with stuff, and I'm not good at that. So I'll just tell you about this stuff. Yeah. So she should be done painting. Drawing. I hear it.
Oh, sorry, babe.
Oh, no. I was just thinking, man, I am actually just sort of talking. It's a good thing that I was.
So what all happened there? A day ago, my hairdryer and I had a little bit of a moment. It attacked my hair and took some of it out of my head. Can happen. Hairdryer safety is important. Pay attention to where that thing is. Anyways, so while I'm brushing this down, it's all wet. It blew some of my hair.
I was wondering what you were doing there.
Surface. So then I'm like, dirt, I got to get it off. And then as I was brushing it out, that lifted the paint underneath because nothing was dry. It just created a whole thing. So what you saw me doing there was me dealing with like a crazy problem live on the air.
You did it good. Like you are a professional or something. I'm going to let you talk while I sip my coffee.
I'm going to sip my coffee too. You guys talk to each other. We're having a moment.
All right, I'm at my coffee.
Now, to make sure that I do this as accurately as possible, I'm going to put my reference over here.
That
but I'd like
to
show you, this is a transferable image, right? This is a traceable. So you have that. Just print that out if you don't do freehand, if that's not your thing.
Yeah.
Don't feel bad about it. It's not tracing. I am going to take a chalk pencil, though, and freehand this in. The first, and because sometimes you guys ask me how I do that stuff, so I like to. I'm going to give myself a line about an inch from the top, and I'm going to give myself a line about an inch from the side and an inch from the side because I know that the sponge will go over, and I've got to give myself room. Now I'm going to make myself a mound. It's going to come up and go down. I'm going to do it below the height that I want it. So like at the highest point, it's 3 fingers and then it just kind of comes off each corner.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to draw in my tree. And I'll talk to you a little bit about trees. So for the most part, trees in North America, it's not true globally, but in North America, will be wider at the bottom and they get smaller in their trunk and branch size as they go up. On top of that, as branches veer off, they will be diminished from the branch they're attached to. So like if I make a branch off of here, it can't be the size of the trunk.
Right.
So I'm trying to make this a nice crookedy tree as I'm going up because I know I'm going to want to put some variations. I'm going to widen it at the bottom. And let's come over here at the first sort of crook. That's a bend in the tree. I'm going to bring out a branch. See, it's smaller than what it's attached to. I'm going to come up here. And notice that I'm tapering my lines.
Mm-hmm.
Now you might wonder, why are we going to draw like even the outer contour line? That's the outer edges of the tree. I have found that especially with new students, it's not fun for them, not even in the least, to have to just freehand it and work it out, and hopefully just come up with something similar. So having a little guide, having a little boundary helps them enjoy the painting process, helps you enjoy the painting process, right? While still making sure that the project comes out the way you hoped, because you probably clicked on this because you thought it'd be nice to make a galaxy tree.
I like the galaxy tree.
Now you may have clicked on this going, does this woman even know how to make a galaxy tree? And that's cool too. I'm not offended if that's why you're here.
Had I known she could have done it on crushed black velvet.
I can. You want to do a black velvet painting sometime, babe?
Yeah.
Okay, totally doable. We just got to order them online. There's one resource for them. So I'll have to go to them and see if they've got any available. I want this little trunk here to be bigger. So you can see how I'm branching these out. They're smaller than what they're attached to. The branches that come off this branch are smaller. And I'm kind of winding them out. Now, my tree, I want to also give myself kind of a contour guide to my tree. So here at the top, I wiggle my brush and I come down. I'm very light because I want this to be able to erase. All right, I'm wiggling in and out. Look at how uneven and wandery my lines are. Mm-hmm. You want that. You want your lines to be super wandery. Sometimes I will come into a branch and I'll bring this behind it, even though I know it's going to go in front and behind, because it's important to keep track of that shape, that basic tree shape that got us so excited in the first place.
I'm coming in closer watching you make tree shaping.
Look at these little tree shapes. See,
now this is not, you're not going to stick hard to this tree shape. This is just a guide for your
sponge, so that when I'm pressing in, I know when I need to go out. The sponges are going to do some of this painting themselves. So creating this, or you guys using the traceable, just ensures that your tree contour, the basic overall shape of your tree, is what you were hoping it would look like. Sometimes if you just freehand it, you'll end up with a lollipop.
Lollipop.
Lollipop, lollipop, ooh, ooh, lolly, lolly, lollipop. So the very last thing that we're going to do on this is the sponging.
The last thing.
The last thing.
I would have thought
the first thing we're going to do is just get some of this nice, pretty phthalo blue. And we're going to paint this trunk.
Lead with sponging.
Right? Painting the trunk. You can see that I am pulling the brush in. I dip in water. What I do is I dip my brown brush in water, and then I come here and I pull it out. And then I swirl around, and then I roll, and then I pull this little stroke. And what that does is it loads a bunch of paint into the belly of my brush. So what I'm doing is I'm thinning the paint to improve the flow with water. If you're painting craft paint, that's this type of paint. Use much less water than I use. This amount of water is only appropriate for heavy body paint, and not student heavy body paint like Liquitex Basics. For really good heavy body paint, that much water, because it's very thick. These are just little things that you might not know.
Yeah?
Yeah. Because acrylic paint is all acrylic paint. It all works with each other, but it can all be very different, can't it?
It really can, huh?
It really can. So I'm just coming in and painting out these little lines here. They were very helpful, weren't they?
I know I say this all the time, but you always do a new one that's like my new favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I really like this one.
Yeah.
Because it particularly reminds me of Moonglade, place in a fantasy game that I play. And,
really?
Yeah. And like beautiful glowy trees like this, and the your sparkly little willows of the wisp that are floating there.
Oh, this is inspired by that book series I was reading that I'm waiting for the new one to come out from. They don't actually have a space tree. They had a celestial tree.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And I was like, what other kinds of celestial trees could there be? Theirs was the quickening, and I was like, there could be all kinds of celestial trees. Right, now I'm going to take a smidge of the white, and I'm going to add that to my blue paint, and that's going to help it show up a bit. I highly recommend I like to turn this upside down because my easel has a lip that gets in my way.
Mm.
So maybe John can turn this around for you right side up so you can see it happen. I don't know if you can do that, babe.
I could, but that would be confusing for everyone because they actually want to see how you make those brush strokes.
Okay.
And if I did it upside down,
They
as
would not know.
fun as it would be.
Well, what the trick is I'm on the tip of the brush, and can you see how,
Well,
see how I'm
actually,
holding it? Let's see if
you're-
you can capture this, John. I'll try to
There you
stand
go.
back.
Perfect.
And if you can capture the way that my hand is holding it.
Yes.
So it's like a spring load, isn't it? Look at that. See?
Yeah.
I don't know if we've ever shown that on the show before.
I do try to catch that
But
what
the
you do for hand-
positioning, the way that
Yep.
the brush is right there, and I'm like, I try to take my grass, and the strongest part of my stroke is, really at the beginning, you can see I plant hard and then I flick out. And I'm also pulling the brush away. A whole bunch of weird little micro movements are happening in this. First press is here, and then as I pull away. So they're all little movements. They're not easy to see movements in any way. This is just my first layer of grass that I'm making. I'm not trying to make rose. I'm trying to make wild celestial grass.
Wild celestial grass.
Not mowed celestial grass. There's not a celestial like lawn keeper up here.
Have you seen the celestial crickets? You don't want to anger the celestial ants. They'll
Now,
get you.
For a second, we want to kind of do our trunk. We want to shade it up and make it look more like, like a tree. Like a space tree. So just again, my little phthalo blue and my white. And this is my tinting white. And at this point, I may need to get into see how much more powerful that is?
It is very powerful.
My titanium white, which is a much stronger white. I'm going to start highlighting my tree, maybe like the inside of that branch there, and if I need to dip in water, I will. Just trying to get some of these little highlights in so that the tree has contrast. So like along the top of this branch, highlighting. Along the top of that branch, highlighting. And I highlight where the V is. So can you guys see that I highlight from here through there?
Yeah.
That's what we're doing, but I'm leaving it dark on one side, aren't I? And I'm going to start brushing this down in a very trunk-like, kind of stroke. I'm going to rinse out. Let me get right back into my phthalo blue. And I'm going to come along here, sort of blending that in. If I need to get some of the tinted one here, you just come back. So don't feel like you can't. You can. There we go. Because even though it's a fantasy tree, we still have to make it feel like a tree, don't we?
Mm.
And we want it to stand out from the background. Enjoy this painting process.
Yeah.
There we go. So the paint is wet and it blends into each other and it starts to give us like texture and value. Look at that. Another thing that I do is notice that I carry this stroke through here, down the branch joint and through. That helps make the branch feel more continuous. I'm going to grab more of the mix of titanium white. And if you ever need to know if you're using a tinter zinc, the reason you use it in galaxy and space painting is look how transparent it is.
Oh, put your finger back over there.
But if I do titanium white,
oh yeah,
totally different paint. I try not. I'm going to get some of my tinting white just because it's mellow, and I want to make some of these little highlights, but I don't want to overdo. It can be like a little thing that you work on. I don't want to overdo.
You can. I don't know that you can overdo. You can just have a couple more layers.
It's really true. You just get more layers.
Well, I think there is an area where people worry about what they overworking. Is that
Yes.
right? You saying it?
Yeah. But in this, you're probably pretty okay. Your goal. Where do we want it to be darker? We want it to be darker from here to here. And we want it to be darker from here through there. It ends at that joint there. Here. And on the bottom here.
Oh, so you're just giving it some nice shape.
Yeah, we're just making a nice little trunk. Where do we need it to be darker? Right here. From here to here. Then there's going to be shadow under this whole branch.
Oh, yeah.
See how it's starting to appear round?
Yeah.
I'm going to want a shadow from here, down through here, but not all the way down the front. Gotta make sure that shadow is from here through here. There we go. We're just implying, I'm just adding a little, maybe some, in this case, titanium white. We just want it. We're just implying highlights and shadows. So when we go to paint our tree, we're super happy with shape and value. And again, it just bears saying, from here to here, from here to here, from here to here, from here through here, down to here. This is the same if you were doing a similar lighting to a regular tree that didn't have a blue trunk. Well, it doesn't matter. Right? And you can always come and here's a neat thing that you can do. I'm going to add just a pop of a highlight. And a few little, look at this, strokes. We're just creating as if a little bit of the glow from the stars and the trees. That's our light source, by the way. The tree is its own light source. So I'm just using this next layer of highlight to help really increase that contrast. So our piece is popping. Look at that. One more here. You know, I do want it to be blue, not white, but maybe a little bit of highlight at the little knot there, right? How's your tree look? Is it branchy?
Yeah,
Tree's
that's
very
awesome.
branchy. Now it stands out, doesn't it?
It does.
Let's get into our, grass.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm. That's to do with our grass.
Upside down tree.
So now I'm going to get my blue kind of loaded up. You remember the load? The dip, the swirl, the roll. That's how we're thinning our paint. I'm going to add some titanium white to that. Let's start detailing out our grass. Look at that. Sometimes you'll see me kind of make a little S-curve. Some of those little points are much more detailed and delicate, aren't they? It's a minute to learn it, the grass stroke. But anybody can do it, I promise. Just practice on a practice sheet of paper. So you're like, oh, I got grass. You can see I'm just layering, aren't I?
Yeah.
Starting to layer over the tree a little bit. Dip in water to improve the flow. Think about Parappa the Rapper. The beat must flow. And your paint must flow. Spice must flow. All the things that must flow. There we go. Just adding those different values. A little bit of that titanium. It's very powerful, the white, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Leaving a lot of that dark value showing through. That's looking pretty good. I like that. It's a good beginning. Now we're going to take our blue and this artist knife, the diamond troweled artist knife, and we're going to mix our green and blue together. And this makes us a very nice turquoise. It is a very important color for this painting. You got to have some turquoise in your space. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
You can rinse, rinse, rinse. I'm going to load up a bunch of white. I'm going to mist my palette. Everything's getting a little dry.
Misty, mist, mist. They don't see it.
Oh.
Yeah, you're a cute little mister.
My cute mister that my husband got me. Very sweet.
I'm so happy I got it.
So you can see that makes a beautiful little turquoise. And now I'm just doing these little details. I don't have to do it upside down. You can then work out little pieces. I'm really working just the tip of the brush.
You really are.
Yeah, just on the toe. So if this is the toe of the brush, that's where I'm painting. I'm not letting the brush bend. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You know, what's nice about that color is it's a little different from the blue. Even though it is a blue, it's kind of like an aqua, and so that feels a little galactic, right?
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of that there. Little wonderful grass strokes. Aren't those fun? Be playful. You can also, let's get my brush in some clean water, get some pink out. Ooh. And a little of the white. Give yourself some pink grass. Maybe a little more white than that. Look at that pink in there. Pick some spots. You had no idea galaxy grass was so involved. This is not that dissimilar from how I did DeFranco's hair. If you've watched this for a long time, you know I did a box gift for DeFranco because we're huge fans. And
Yeah.
back when he was doing mail.
Oh, then you painted the outside of the box. That's right.
Yeah. Just a little dark blue. I'm just making sure that there's just nice layers. I'm
Layers.
just
Right.
making sure my grass feels just galactic.
Mm-hmm.
You could go purple too. Look at that. Water. Swirl, 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 swirl. A little white. A little bit lighter purple. There you go. There's some purple. So what's nice about this grass is it sort of reflects what's going to be going on in the tree.
Now, you're using a number 6 there?
A number 4 round TheArtSherpa.
Number 4 round. But if you had a 6 or an 8, you just have to, you can use them, just be more careful.
Well, you know, it really isn't about the size of the brush. It's about the lightness of the toe. See, the toe of my brush here is very delicate. Look at what a delicate line I can get. See?
Yeah.
Now I'm just playing is what it is. Sometimes I get playful. I just enjoy the process. All right.
What's not to
That
enjoy?
was pretty fun, I will say. How are you doing? You having fun?
Good, yeah. I'm hanging out.
Drinking
coffee. Watch my wife paint.
Now I'm going to get one of my like little nugget-sized sponges. This is a good one. I'm going to try to avoid these big holes because they make patterns, so this is the spot that I like. I'm going to get it a little damp. And I may put out a little bit more of my phthalo blue. And I'm going to tap up and down. You see how I'm doing?
Mm-hmm.
Up and down. Stampy stamp. Then I'm going to begin to space up my tree. I look at my lines. And I just try to think about them a little bit when I'm making my tree shape.
You're just kind of tamping in that rough tree shape, huh? Oop.
Just tapping in that rough tree shape. We did check in to sea sponges to find out if sea sponge harvesting was hurting anything. And right now, the current knowledge is it is not, though I would say that the habitats for the sponges are becoming endangered, but not from harvesting.
No. Apparently, though, especially the way they're harvested, they're cut by hand from free swimming divers. And it's just sort of like cutting a flower. It just grows back relatively quickly.
And we read a lot of resources. We did not trust any particular resource.
And it's actually good for the farmers who do this because it's, again, harvested by hand. They do a lot of it from, so it's an artisan work. Anyway.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. From what we could tell, it
was
seemed
okay.
pretty okay.
What we could see, it was okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get some of my, this is that tinting white. Lightly. I'm not pressing very hard. That's how I'm getting that crazy cool.
Look at us. We're all sea sponge woke.
Gotta be woke about everything now.
So
I just want to go back to sleep, but not in a way that's harmful to anybody. I'm just like,
I could just take
a
a
lot
nap.
going on right now.
I'm just gonna nap. How about that?
I just feel if you grew up with the Goonies and you were a Goonie, probably you're doing okay.
Maybe I won't nap. I'll just daydream.
Yeah. All right.
So, celestial tree.
Celestial trees gonna come and solve our problems. I'm gonna pull some of this down so I can see.
Actually, this tree is just phenomenally coming into shape.
Coming around here. Sponges make the best trees, seriously.
I
know I make a lot of Q-tip trees, but I'll make you some with sponges because sponges make the best trees.
On velvet? Oh my.
Goodness. All right, so you can see I've got light areas along here. I've maintained dark areas here, through here, and here. If you lose, like say you get, sometimes when you're sponging, you get into the sponge zone. And you're just sponging everything, sponge all the things, and then all of a sudden you just have a uniform sponge field.
Mm-hmm.
If that happens, rinse out your sponge and go back with your darkest value when the paint is dry and just sponge it back dark. Now I've got a little bowl here for my convenience and I am rinsing out my sponge and squeezing it all over the table. You would normally do this in a different manner than me.
Less messy.
Maybe at a sink or something, because otherwise you end up like this. But back to my good side of the sponge.
Where are you going? Over there.
I'm going to get some of my turquoise color that I mixed. Look at that. And I'll go ahead and get into that transparent white. Just mixing a nice light shade. That's what it looks like. And let's add some of that. Not everywhere, but to places. This is like a nebula, so you can't really say, oh, it's got to be everywhere. I'm going to make this one little puff of tree. See how by doing that little light line there, I made one little puff. There. And that's why I like to make sure, because I get into sponging joy myself. Look at that. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
I'm going to rinse out thoroughly. May even use my other jar. Let me grab a paper towel, babe.
Okay.
I'm going to grab a paper towel.
I will.
The reason I'm grabbing a paper towel is so I can squeeze out the excess water on my sponge, because you don't want it to be dripping. Just wouldn't work well.
Yeah, have it more. It can be moist, like it could have been wetted, but should be no moisture in it, right?
Right.
Squeeze it all out thoroughly.
Now, I'm not really needing to get into my strong titanium white, am I? I put out some more of my...
That might hurt that wonderful layering that you've got.
It does allow me a little bit more of a glazy layer. You can do this with titanium white. You may find you just need to tweak it a little bit more.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a little of my pink on here and a lot of my mixing. Let's find some spots
Oh.
to give ourselves. Way down here a bit. A little bit of some galactic awesome. Sometimes you need a little galactic awesomes. You know, if I've got purple here, I definitely want to get into the pink as I go. Oh, that's nice. Look at that. Let's get a little bit of a nebula there, huh?
Definitely.
I have elected not to do cadmium in this one just because we're doing so much work with our hands and so many people follow along.
Yeah.
That I don't want anybody to have. You can have an allergic reaction to cadmium. Very rare, but it happens. That's nice. I'm just trying to make sure that I've got wonderful galactic space feelings. Space feelings. Now, I do kind of keep it in my red when I do get into my Docs purple, because I want this purple to be a little more red. I will try my tint white. If it works, I'll stay there. If it doesn't, I'll switch to my titanium. Again, and remember, tint white is the same as zinc white, is the same as mixing white. There are craft paint versions of this. There are pro paint versions of this. So it's available in all of your budgets. It's worth getting if you can and add to your paint box. If you can't, just use titanium white. Your tree will be a little bit more opaque. All right, there we go. Isn't that a great color? There we go. There's a lot going on there. Yep, I think we do have to get into the titanium. See, that's a weird thing with the purple. You got to get a more opaque white sometimes because it's so pigmented. I'm going to come right here and go like that. Add a little purple to the base, that pink, and come through here, maybe. I may even get back into my blue over here and sort of blend a dark value through that. So this is what we're doing. We're just trying to find, and I feel like I'm getting kind of there on my tree.
Oh, yeah. It looks great.
Now I'm going to put my sponge in water, but you guys should definitely go rinse your sponge out. And I'm going to put out my fluid paint, which is this stuff.
And this is going to be for your little dottiness, huh?
For dots and for splatters. So there it is. You can see it's more fluid. Another alternative you could use is like I like this one, the Deco Art Americana. This is also titanium white. Pretty okay. Also splatters fairly well. If you don't have my tool, I had a video, I bet my moderators will share it with you, all about different ways to splatter paint and tips and tricks to be better at it and have less mistakes and problems on your canvas. Because this is usually where beginners, they get real far and they're like, I feel really good. And then they get to the splattering, which is a little bit out of control. And they have stuff happen and it's frustrating. And usually that's about not having prep, not practicing your splatters before you put on your canvas. Definitely, whether you watch that other video or not, please practice your splatters on scratch paper before you put it on your canvas. So I'm going to go ahead and load up my tool. This is not a toothbrush. This is a paintbrush. It's for my Galaxy set. Right? You can find these like on michaels.com and I think the brush guys but if you're in Canada, Kings. There's a lot of places that have them. Now, I'm going to hold it close and I'm going to splatter. So a few of the stars will exit the tree, but I want a lot of the stars to be on the tree. Come back and get some more. Purple stars, I want white stars. So here we go. I'm just splattering different stars. Every time I do it, it'll be a little bit different. There we go. And I do want some here in the grass, right? Stars going down in the grass. I want a few splatters kind of coming up the tree because it's almost like it's raining stars, if that makes sense. The tree is like where stars are created. And I'll show you a trick on how I kept that field kind of black while still making sure I had a very starry tree. If you got stars where you were unhappy, you would just come back with your black paint. Like if there's like, wow, there's too many stars. like maybe on here, you could always come back and edit a little bit.
Mm.
So if your stars get out of control, they're not, but I'm just wanting to demo, you could edit a little bit. It might be a little wasteful, but that's just because I want this fluid paint closer to where I'm dotting.
You could pick that up and just go over there.
Hmm?
You could just use a little temporary palette if you want.
I don't have my little ring thing.
I'll see if
I splattered something over here and I don't know how. That's okay. All right, so I'm going to dot. Now, I also, in that Galaxy set, have a dotting tool, but you could use a toothpick. Oh, no, I'm okay, babe. I'm okay. But thank you. I'm going to dot a little field of more focal stars. These little round dots kind of give some structure to the little splatter stars that we put around. Some of the dots will be bigger and some will be smaller as you're dotting. Right. And again, you could use the back of a small brush. You could use a toothpick. You can use, if you've got a manicure, pedicure set, your nail tool, it's okay.
any pokey stick
that will give you
object,
dots that you're happy with.
and preferably not puncture your surface.
See how we're just dotting? I got to make a nice little cluster of stars here because there'll be little focuses of stars. It's as if these are coming, down into the universe. This was my feeling when I made this.
I'm
John likes whenever I do Galaxy anything. When he discovered that I would paint space, he got super excited. He's like, "Wait, you will do space?" I'm like, "Yes, of course, darling.
Well,
anything you want."
I dig these scenes.
Well, again, if it works on DeFranco's hair, it's good enough for that. It's good enough for everyone. Now I'm going to put one there. I know I'm going to be doing a kind of more focal star on. But I'll still wander some of these around. This has 2 size dots, so I can always come over and go to the bigger size if I want to make a more focal dot. If I want to go focal.
Now,
little too focal. See that there? Little too focal. So what do? Oh no! Too focal. I've taken a brush. I've gotten it a little bit damp. And I will very carefully, like a little surgeon, remove my boo-boo. And then I will come back with the other dotting tool and I will just fix it. So don't panic at any point, is my point, I guess. Back to my small size dotting tool.
Now that really speaks to the power of your precision poker, is that this thing is for, like, consistency, really. I mean, as much as I joke.
When we make tools for artists, one of the things that they are for is to just create a repeatable result. There's a ton of ways with just weird household stuff you can get splatters, and I talk about it in a video. But if I want this size particulate every time I paint, dispersed in this way, this is the tool that I designed for that. If I want to be able to hand dot a very particular set of dots that diminish but remain round off of a fluid paint, this is the tool for that. If that makes sense.
Yeah. No, it totally does. That's what sometimes I joke and make puns, but really, you did all of this with purpose.
Yeah, very purposeful.
It's a purposeful precision poking product. Hey, look, I did it.
So I'm just trying to make sure that is as it should be. See that?
It's as tree as you can be. That's
I think I might want to add a few more little stars up the trunk.
Really?
Yeah, I'm just very picky.
Oh, yeah. No, I can see it.
There we go. All right, so I'm going to put this aside. And I'm going to dry this.
Okay.
And then I'll show you how to get the glow on there.
All right. Now, we talked about it in a lot of other videos, but I don't think we touched on it here. One of the reasons why she's drying between layers is that as she does some of the subsequent colors and things, if she doesn't dry all these dots, they'll smear. So as she puts in some of the glow and things like that, you can, if you don't make sure that all these layers that are already gone before, like if any of those sponge layers or the tree or any of the things like that are still wet, they'll drag and pick up in the next layers. So as she's doing some of these other techniques. So it's really good to make sure you dry your surface. Don't use heat. Heat's bad for the paint, causes color shift and shrinkage and all sorts of problems. It makes it soft. It's acrylic, so don't get it hot. Use no heat and thoroughly dry between layers. Unless you want it to blend and then don't dry between layers. I'm not a painter, so probably shouldn't take that part of the advice from me. But I can tell you about drying because I've watched her dry a lot of surfaces and talked about drying seemingly endlessly across hundreds of videos. Probably something I've talked more about in my life than anything else now that I think about it.
So the reason that I spent extra time drawing that is I want to be able to do a trick to give my twinkles straighter lines, and it has to be very dry for me to do it. So that's really about kind of strategy and planning about like how do I dry this and get this dry enough for that. I'm going to start putting the glows around. Now for this, I do want to use my yellow. And again, you can use this yellow in any of your paints, but sometimes as a YouTuber, I feel, I'm going to put out my tint white again. Remember, zinc and mixing. I just sometimes feel like the example that I set is important because sometimes people will miss a, cautionary warning or whatever. And so when I'm demoing, I always try to make sure I demo studio safety. But again, for most of us, cadmium is just fine on the outside of our bodies. It's an allergy issue. I think I'm going to get a detail brush here. This is a number 1 round. I'm going to kind of load up with some of my tint and some of my yellow. Right? And we're going to start coming around our stars with some glow. Pick some stars. Add some glow. That's just sort of like a circular stroke. Maybe this will be easier to see, because John doesn't have to get around the lip of the
I'm okay.
surface.
We were talking about when you were gone how it's important to make sure you dry between layers so you don't pick up the lower layers with this little stroke you're doing now, because you could make the stars smear and things like that if they're not dry.
Yeah, very much so. And it's just important. And you got to remember, when you're painting your glows, it's another object that you're painting. I will rinse out my brush often just in case the paint is drying on there as I'm painting. Again, tint white and my Cad Yellow Medium. I tend to leave a little space between my dot and the glow.
Oh, yeah.
Some of my glows are small. Some of my glows are big.
Now, these are non-representational glows, right?
What does that mean?
Well, they could be a firefly. They could be a will-o'-the-wisp.
They could be. They could be fairies.
They could be fairies.
I think it's important to have some have more yellow, some have less. Change up. You might just kiss one with just a little glow like that. And then, add a lot of glow to another one. Change up those sizes.
Mm-hmm.
Make variations. So that's why you might, demonstrate this in real time and not just like speed everything up.
This is time consuming.
It is. And if I speed it up where you have no idea how I made it, these little elements like put space between your dot and your glow, they all work together to create the impact of what you're doing. I'm going to have okay, so the big glow that I'm going to have is right here, and then he's going to have a couple little friends.
Okay.
Let's get a little of our tint white and a little yellow and give him a couple little friends.
Power glow.
Power glow. If I need more yellow on there, I can shade it. See? I can do that. Maybe I'll glow around those two stars. Picked up a lot more yellow for this one, because this is going to be a sparkle star. Rinse out, come back and get some more tint white. You know, making shading, detailing out. Thinking about how I'm painting that. Now I've got to glow a couple here, well, at least glow one here, and I've got to get these going. So that is, give this a nice big glow. So it's quite a nice radius, right? Maybe I'll get some of my tint white. Easy to come back with titanium white. That's no problem. Hard to get transparent. You can always make something more opaque, but it's really hard to keep it transparent.
Mm.
So if you want to come with and you're like, oh, I'll just take some of my star white, and I'll show you what I mean. You can always add that.
Oh, yeah.
It's a big glow. Couple little twin stars next to each other. Now the next one's going to be real interesting because I'm going to be working my T-square, my fluid paint, a small detail brush, and my hair dryer. So everybody cheer John because he's about to have to really work. Work for his supper right there. All right, but we're doing pretty good. As you can see, we're really getting there. So let's dry it real well.
Okay. Yeah. Make sure you dry. I've talked a lot about drying, as you said before. Don't use heat. Heat's bad. Causes colors to get all funky. But someone asked what kind of hairdryer this is. I don't know. If it moves slow enough, I don't have my. I think it says Conair on it, but I don't know. It's a blue one, and someday I'll have all of my. Oh, there should.
Side.
There it is. What kind of hairdryer do you use? Conair.
Conair.
Yeah,
Cord Keeper, 1875.
There you go.
That's about how old it is.
That's. It's a.
So I'm going to take my T-square. Now you can see why it's a big deal that the stars be kind of dry. And I'm going to place it sort of in the middle of one of my stars. Let me grab some of that. And I'm going to come. Now, I don't touch the little sparkle to it. And then I'll go ahead and make a little mark this way. That's how you get a sharp one.
Mm.
It can be challenging to get a sharp sparkle, and you guys have been asking me questions about that, so I thought this is a great painting. Make sure you don't let the paint dry on your detail brush. This is a great painting to demo that. Long sparkles up in the sky. That looking good?
That's awesome.
I can do it from this side too. Just relax. Full release. I just have paint on the tip of my brush. It's very fluid. My pressure's light. And I have a well-engineered detail brush. Lots of little factors. Coming into this beautiful line. Look at that gorgeous line. I think I'm getting like a little crazy. Like these are going to be the twinkliest stars I've ever done. Did you want some twinkle?
You're going to get it.
You're getting your twinkle. Anything for you guys. Whatever you need, I will do. You've got this. Believe in yourself. Beautiful. Now, key, dry it.
Again, yeah.
Dry. Because you don't want to drag. This only works if everything is dry between the maneuvers.
And that's what we were talking about earlier. Is you just got to make sure that all that stuff stays nice and dry, so that as you do the next little paint stroke over the top of that, it doesn't drag this paint stroke with it. And especially when you're using a T-square, because a T-square will drag paint everywhere. So anytime you're going to use a T-square on your surface, make sure you dry it first. That's the very dangerous time.
What?
Make sure you dry your surface before you use a T-square.
Oh, yeah.
Because you'll drag paint.
Oh, it's just, so heartbreaking, too. Back into my paint. So how do I know where I can put my twinkles? I have to step it down so that I can't paint higher than where I'm at. So this has to be the next one because it's the next level lower. This one is just a little lower than that one.
Gotcha.
So that's why that decision. See?
So you're not holding your T-square over that line again.
Yeah, because it'll drag.
It will drag the paint.
And that's a drag, man. These are really sharp.
They are.
I'm loving them. So again, sometimes when I'm doing the show, I'll just freehand these, but because it does speed up the process. However, you'll never see how it's made if I don't show you. Huh. Are you like blown away by how sparkly these are?
This is awesome.
There we go.
This is amazing.
Now looking sharp?
Yeah.
Now I have to decide, do I want to do the crossbars? Because I think these look really good.
I like them.
Kind of like better than the original. So you guys got to vote. Do you want the cross sections or you think that they are where they should be? If there's a delay and I'm going to sip my coffee while you guys mull it over.
Just while
I shall go with the rule of the crowd.
Well,
because those are spot on, and I can do the cross ones. It's done exactly the same way, but they're little shorter lines. But you have to decide sometimes when you're doing something, does this look better? And I feel like this might look better, more magical.
It might be.
They're just so sharp and like.
While you're waiting,
I'll take a question while they're having a vote. Do speak up, though.
So you know what? While we're waiting for them to give us the answer on the first question, we'll ask them a second question and wait for them to get that one. Because the delay for the first one, while they're thinking about getting the second one, will surely be enough for us to ask them another question that we won't be able to get to. I
just like that.
I
just really like those. I think I like those sparkles better than the first sparkles, just personally.
Okay, so they're voting come in. So, see, we have, it's beautiful cross sections. It's fantastic. They are good. Just one. Keep it like that. crosses. Man, it's a split. It's a flip up.
So what I'll do
More crosses.
is I will
perfect
demo.
is,
Maybe
S's.
I'll make this star special
Half-
by doing its cross section,
Okay, do one.
and then you guys can decide. I don't think it'll take away. I'm going to dry it just to make sure.
Okay.
I always like to ask you guys stuff, and then John can ask you a second question. Then when we break, he can ask. We can deal with that.
Yeah, that's what we can do because we're live and this is totally unscripted and we're planning on this. Nothing?
Nothing.
I didn't.
So I'm just going to come in a diagonal across the star.
So you just split the difference between the two?
Just split the difference right halfway between the two. These should be shorter. Not as long as their counterparts. And fainter.
Oh.
Let me
See,
dry.
you have to dry it so you don't get the... See, it's important. That's why I didn't know where she was going. I didn't know she was getting more paint or... Because when this requires precision.
It does. For this technique to look great is patience and precision and some good tools. So there you go. So that
Nice.
one ends up being more special because it's got the cross stars. And I think that actually works out really well.
I think
Now,
that's great.
If for some reason your paint, from the hair drying, from the being worked, gets soft, you can always come back and repair it.
Ah.
So don't panic. Oh, that looks so good.
It does.
Oh, let's see close up again. Again. Ah, love it, love it, love it. So perfect. It's
It really is.
perfect. I love it when a painting is perfect. It makes me so happy. Are you happy? I'm happy. Okay. So you got a sign. And did you have a question, John?
I was busy looking at cameras and let me
Okay.
see. I'm sure there's...
I'm going to load up with my turquoise and my white for my signature. I always like to use colors that I have in the painting so that it doesn't really pull from everything that I'm doing. And I'm going to sign up the side, so I'll hold it up here.
So you like this sponge method better than the
Yeah.
Q-tip method?
I actually think it makes better trees.
I think so too. I really do.
I think Q-tips are a ton of fun, and they get you out of your own head and out of your own way, and they give you a great technique.
I really like that.
Yeah, me too. I'm going to let you tour the painting.
Yeah, you're going to be on the front camera?
Yeah, I'll be on the front.
Okay.
There's my
There
head. My ears, my
Your
kitty ears. These
kitty
are the
ears,
galactic cats, so
Yeah.
that's what I was doing there. My galactic kind of butterfly, spacey butterfly.
Everyone was saying they love your butterfly.
Thank you. This is Betsy Johnson. She does awesome collections, and you can find her.
All over
my
the
mother-in-law, well, if she's here, she'll tell you where you can find it. It's Marshall's, I think.
She finds all the good deals and
She
brings
does.
them over.
She does. You got to shop a deal. So,
Thank you.
ooh,
for-
it's so gorgeous.
Thank you to moms who help bring over wonderful things for...
Oh, thank you to all moms everywhere. If you're a mom, just thank you. You do a good job. And if you're a dad, actually, just thank you to everybody. I got great gratitude for everyone. That's my problem. I'm grateful.
And then we feel bad for not saying we're grateful for the people who we forget that we're grateful
I didn't
to.
even forget. Just sometimes, the list, I feel like those people in the Academy Awards were like, a bunch of people got me here, and now I got to, edit out some? That's crazy. Give me 15 minutes.
But we love you guys. This is an awesome tree.
I like it. And hopefully you like yours. It's great that I like mine. I always like when I'm teaching a lesson and the project comes out and I'm really, personally chuffed and excited about, what I did. But even more so, I like it when you're excited about your painting. So when you finish your painting, definitely, tell us about your experience. Share it with us. We're on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and Pinterest. We got a website. We're here. There's a lot of places that you can share the image, hashtag it TheArtSherpa so I can find you. And I just love seeing what you do. John just loves seeing what you do. And it is a really magical experience making galaxy trees. So I'd love to share your part of that magical experience because I do all this for you. I do actually. It's really fun. Be good to yourself. Be good to each other. And I want to see you and an easel really soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.